Welcome to Caleb's Basketball Pod. I'm recording this episode Sunday because I have a lot going on Monday, so I won't really be able to record. But this episode is released today, Monday morning. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I just want to let's talk. There's a lot that went on last night, a lot that went on Friday night. Let's just talk these last couple days and games. Let's start with Friday. Friday, we saw the Dallas Mavericks beat the SGA-less Oklahoma Thunder. Thunder had been on a roll the night prior. As we spoke on Friday, they dominated Cleveland. But then to come out the next night, and Dallas picked up a huge victory. Even so, without Shea, Dallas remains without Luka Doncic. So Kyrie Irving led these Mavericks on this night and got a huge victory, a much-needed win. I want to talk about Dallas for a second. I just want to say, injuries are never a good thing. No one thinks that, no one believes that. But the fact that they've been without Luka this long, and then they were even without Kyrie Irving for a couple weeks, these guys are still competing. You're getting big contributions from Spencer Dinwiddie, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, P.J. Washington, Najee Marshall. I mean, these guys that are really good role players, Klay Thompson, they're asked to do more. So now I think in turn, Quentin Grimes has played really well too, but I think in terms of that, now when Luka and Kyrie come back, they understand that they're needed. They understand more than before when Luka and Kyrie's taking over a game, that their contributions are just as important to this team and to winning. And I think all in all, that's going to make Dallas a lot more dangerous. Not much to talk about on the Thunder side. Yes, they lost. They were without a lot of players. It's no excuse. But that Oklahoma Thunder team's been playing an amazing basketball all year. And their defense is playing at a historic level right now. And it's really amazing to see and watch. Shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about these games that happened last night. Last night we saw Cleveland win 125-117 over the Timberwolves. Cleveland was without Isaac Okoro and without Evan Mobley. Still got a victory. Huge contributions from Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell combined for over 50 points. Once again, Cleveland is 10-0 when they combined for over 50. But then on the flip side, Anthony Edwards had a big game. Rudy Gobert had, in my opinion, his best game of the season. Najee Reed was hitting threes. He was hitting a lot of threes in that game. Big contributions all around. But the story of this game for me is Minnesota needs turning up. I'm not sure what the turn up is. The style of basketball they play, I just think it's ugly. I think it's ISO heavy. And I think the ball needs to move more. I don't know if that necessarily means maybe get rid of Julius Randle around the trade deadline and try to get a player that's more keen to coming off the ball and doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. Me personally, that's what I would do. I think you need that next star next to Anthony Edwards that's okay with Anthony Edwards taking over a game and ISOing a lot. You need the guy that's fine with that can hit shots off of his ISOs. When he gets double teamed, as he spoke on, you need that guy that can hit those shots. Julius Randle's not that type of player. Julius Randle slows an offense down because he is an ISO heavy guy himself. In my opinion, too much ISOing is just not going to work. But there was a lot of interesting games last night. I wanted to speak on the Detroit Pistons. They dropped one in Detroit to the Phoenix Suns yesterday by 4 points. Close game, good game. But let's talk about the Suns real quick. Okay, Suns, they, much like the Wolves, maybe even more so than the Wolves, I think there's more pressure on them. A lot of the same players returned. They added Tyus Jones. They just traded for Nick Richards, who had a huge game yesterday, 21-11, I believe. But they need more. They need more off the bench. They did get their big. Last season, they were lacking a point guard. They filled those spots. They still need more bench. They still need more wings. They need guys who can defend, catch and shoot, guys like that. But winning time is now. When you have a team with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, winning time's now. Winning's not in the future. And if you can't win now, and if this season goes like it's looking, like last season did, where you don't even make like the regular playoffs, you're in the play-in, it's time to in my opinion, just break it up, rebuild, start over. Because if this team's not cutting it 2 straight years and not even making the playoffs normally 2 straight years, it's just time to give up on that. Now, going to the Detroit Pistons. I love the gritty hustle style of basketball these Pistons are playing. They got some vets in there. They got Tim Hardaway Jr. They got Tobias Harris. They got Malik Beasley. They got some veterans in there to add on top of their younger guys. And their young guys have been playing great. Jaden Ivey was playing amazing before he got injured. He's out for the season. Thompson, one of the trends, he's been playing lights out. His brother's been playing lights out in Houston. Both been playing really, really good basketball. But then Cade Cunningham, I want to give this man props. He should be an all-star this year, in my opinion. He has been one of the best guards in the Eastern Conference. He's taking his time. He's getting to his spots. He's learning. But he's still, as he's learning, he's a little heavy on turnovers some games. But as he's learning, he's still putting up 30, 40. He's had big games. He's beat these guys' team to beat a lot of teams. Like, they beat New York. They beat some teams. They beat Milwaukee, I believe, once. They've got some wins. He has some big wins, and just the improvement from last year to this year, amazing. And also, I want to say JB Bickerstaff, he is coaching lights out right now. Props to Detroit, props to him. Let's run down some more of these games from last night. Houston dominated Portland. Willie, the only thing I'm seeing from this game is Jalen Green's been on a tear as of late. 20-point games, 30-point games, 40-point games. He's just been it. He's been on one these last 8 games, and to be honest, Houston needs that. When he's scoring like that, Houston's a really tough team to beat. When he's inconsistent, they're a lot easier to beat. They're lacking consistent offense, but Jalen Green is bringing something, and he is showing a lot of fight, and he's being the leader that Houston needs. Portland's just not a good team. DeAndre Ayton, if he keeps playing how he's playing, in my opinion, he's going to play himself out of a job just in the league in general, in the NBA. Grant deserves better. He should be on a better team where he has a shot to win. He's a really good small forward that could most definitely help a championship team. Last night we also had Golden State defeat the Washington Wizards. The Wizards have 6 wins. Unfortunately, their team's just not going anywhere at this moment. They need a lot more than what they have. They need a star player. They need that guy to build their team around, but they also need a culture change. I don't know if that's a coaching change, someone to bring a different type of culture in, because look at Detroit, as I spoke on. They were not good last year. The culture was not good last year. They had Monty Williams last year as a coach, and he just seemed like he just didn't want to be there. And they had to get rid of him, and they had to shift to JB Bickerstaff, and Bickerstaff's brought a different culture, a different style, and look how Detroit's doing. Maybe Washington needs that. Washington also needs that young Cade Cunningham type of player that you can build your team around. But just really, really good night in the NBA. We also had the Pacers beat the Sixers. And I keep talking, Pacers are playing really good basketball, don't get me wrong. But the Sixers winning any time now. Now's the time. You have to win now, or it's just not going to mean anything. They're 15-25 in 40 games. This season's almost done. Like, this early, a team that people had championship hopes for, this season's almost done already. And that's bad. And we learned a couple days ago, Embiid's going to be out at least 7 to 10 days. Things are not looking up in Philly. Things are looking down. Big injuries all season. Their star players not really showing the court together, and just the wins aren't there. It's sad because I thought they were going to be really good and really competitive. They even built a lot of role players, but at that same point, a lot of their role players are older guys, and they probably needed a younger roster around their guys just in case those injuries popped up. Even an injury to their rookie that would probably be rookie of the year if he didn't tear his meniscus and was done for the year, Joe McCain. It's just been an unlucky season for the Sixers, to say the least. The Pacers have really stepped up. They're really playing great basketball as of late. And then one more game I want to talk about from last night. The Atlanta Hawks are 6-1 against the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference. That's insane. They've only lost to Boston once, but they've beat Boston twice. They've beat the Knicks twice. They've beat the Cavs twice. Those Hawks, when it's a big game against the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference, those guys, they show up and ball out. Amazing game last night from Trae Young. You could see Tatum getting a little frustrated throughout the game. Got into it. It had to be broken up in the middle of the game. But I don't know if Boston's uninterested in the regular season, because at times it looks like they are. Or I don't know if Boston don't get that it changes when you win a championship. So last year they go from that team. They're winning, they're dominating, they're playing great. Nobody was even up to their level in the regular season. They were the number 1 seed by far. Well, now it shifts. Now you're the team that every team in the league, because you're the champions, feel they have to beat to prove something. So it changes. Your level of play has to change. I don't think there's anything wrong with changing from being the hunters to the hunted, as long as you know you're being hunted and you have to defend yourself and try to get more of it from that way. But it looks like they're still trying to be the hunters when they're really the hunted, and it looks like that playing style is leading to looking like they're a little uninterested in some games and not taking every game as serious or as fired up as they were last year, or not understanding that you're going to get every team's best shot because you're the team that if they beat, they feel like they've proved something against. You're the champions. You're that team. So, I don't know. I think Boston needs to 20 up soon. I don't think they're in any danger. Of course, in no danger of missing the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. But I want to see more intensity from Boston. Because right now you have to wonder, not saying they won't repeat because they have a great team, but you have to wonder how long can you play relaxed before relaxed becomes your play. Because to me, they just don't look as aggressive. They don't look like they're going for it like last year. They need that energy. They need that intensity. The intensity of not being champions and wanting to be champions, they need that back. Because I'm just seeing a slip from them as of late. But a lot of good basketball will be played ahead. We're coming up in a couple weeks on the NBA trade deadline. There's a lot of great stories there. I've spoke on the Jimmy Butler situation. Jimmy Butler did return. We talked about him returning. He did return Friday night, and Miami suffered a loss to the Denver Nuggets during the introductions. In my opinion, Jimmy Butler just looked like he just didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be a part of the team. He didn't want to be a part of the team's antics. He looks like he's separating himself from the team, and that causes more team turmoil, in my opinion. I think at this point, pretty soon, it's going to be best to just trade Jimmy Butler away and get what you can before he keeps killing the morale of your team. Because if you keep letting this go, you might as well just throw this season out the door and say we're trading Jimmy Butler in the offseason after we miss the playoffs or something like that, because you can see the morale's different when he's playing and when he's not. And it's not in a good way. It just looks like he's bringing everyone down because he just looks disinterested in playing basketball for the Miami Heat. And to be honest, he has a history of doing this. I'm not really sure who wants to give up a lot to take the risk on a player like that. Me personally, there's too much risk that he may get unhappy and get into that situation and force his way out, as he's done so many times before. So I don't see the big risk of taking on Jimmy Butler if I'm another team, especially a team trying to, if I'm in the championship hunt. If I'm not in the championship hunt and there's a chance this puts me in the championship hunt, maybe. But if I'm in the championship hunt already, I'm not taking that risk. That's just me personally. I just think he's bringing the team down. But that'll do it for this episode. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. Stick with me. We've got another episode coming up Wednesday where we will recap these Martin Luther King Day games, every team in action. And it's just a fun time to be an NBA fan right now. I'll see you then.